Welcome along to episode number 6 of Insights with IVRA, and I'm pleased to welcome along with me Jérôme Berthiaume from Precision Esports, Precision Racing Esports, which has been fresh on its antics for the opening round of the IVRA GT Sprint Series powered by Hostingveld. Jérôme, firstly, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks to you. It's a pleasure to be there with you tonight.
So we'll get on to what happened at the Nürburgring for round one of the championship. But firstly, the history of the team. I've done a little bit of research that really sort of started as a racing league back in 2011. You guys as PRL, Precision Racing League. How did it evolve and morph into what we see now with Precision Racing Esports?
Yeah, you're right. Everything started in 2011 with the league, and the league is still running. But the esport branch started in 2018. Basically, when the league started, it was mainly with F1 and Codemaster game, and I took the ownership of the league in 2014, and it's the year I tried iRacing for the first time of my life, and the first time I tried racing, it was clear that I know that at some point PRL will only be racing. This is too good.
Hmm.
And yeah, so since 2016-17, we focus only on our racing. And one of our guy, Aaron Webb, had that idea to build a community of esport, mainly for special event and also to compete in other league, so we can expand the community. So the esport branch of PRL started in 2018, around that.
Yeah. So you said that you tested the water with iRacing in sort of 2014, 2015. How's your progression been? I know that you've got quite a few pro drivers on the ranks anyway, and there's quite a few active drivers within PRL and also the esports side of things. How's your iRating been going? Because I spoke with EJ Fielner from ATRS Esports, and he said, yeah, I just can't seem to get over like a 2,500 I rating. What's yours in comparison, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, iRating is really something very difficult to build.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna take something that one of my pro guys told me a few weeks ago. 2 years ago, 6K was like the top, but now 6K is nothing.
Yep.
If you want to get in top split and compete at the high level, you need to be 8K and above, and it's so hard to go there. So, and I have the feeling sometimes that there's too much iRacing series discrepancy, that they are offering more and more series that when
Hmm.
you race an official, it's hard to have really a high strength of field where you can compete with really other high driver when you are in 6 7K, something like that. So it's not rare today that you're in a top split for a specific race and the strength of field is 2.4K, but you are 6 7K. So it's and I think it's because there's too much offering on the iRacing service.
Yeah, I mean, also going back to earlier results for the PRL esports teams earlier on this year, all three teams got a top 10 at the 12 hours of Bathurst, the iRacing special event earlier on this year, back in February. The 111 finished fourth in the fourth time slot, qualified 42nd, but a great run through the field at such a difficult track. The 171 with Dean Zayats and Nicholas Schwartz qualified 19th, finished ninth, and then the 585 in their split with Ty Keveth and Jonathan McCarthy, just at the bottom end of the top 20, stunning P17, finishing in the top five. Must have been a pretty good feeling for the team all round at that point, wasn't it?
I would say that batters is probably our top track. We always achieve to we always manage to achieve good result, and actually our only top split win is at the batters 1000 in 2021, and this year as defending champion we finished fourth in the top split. So it's, yeah, batters as something special for us. We always manage to get consistent races and decent results. So yeah, it's a very good track for us.
I think also one of the other things that really has put Precision Racing League in terms of the community a bit further forward, that you've partnered now with RaceSpot, reference the PRL broadcasting, but also Florian Hasper and the team in Munich, VCO, have jumped on board a little bit with you guys as well. That was a quite a big development. How's it been since that partnership was announced?
It's amazing. Working with the RacePod and VCO, this is just amazing. And what they bring to the community is just perfect. And it's everything started. So, like I told you, we focused more on our racing in 2015, and I think around 2016, 17, we started to work with the GSRC. And big thanks to GSRC, because without GSRC, the community that we have now wouldn't be what it is now. But yeah, we were due to a change, if I can say it that way, and the partnership with RacePod is just amazing. Yeah, it's perfect. We get along together. We help each other. We give each
Mhm.
other feedback, and it's fantastic.
Well, let's concentrate a little bit more on the recent first round of the IVRA GT Sprint Series powered by Hoisingfeld. Of course, the team, I think, did they had to go through pre-qualifying at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So you got two cars. You got one in Division One. You got one in Division Three, where the 111 actually finished, I think, fifth in the opening round at the Nürburgring. And of course, you guys picked up your first W of the season in Division Three. A pretty good start for the season, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, very very good start, and we're a few guys watching the race, and yeah, it's amazing start, and Dom and Jeremy and the 111 just did an amazing job, and kudos also for Jeremy, that Dom is coaching him a lot, and we see it in the pace. He had very very strong pace, so that was fantastic. And Nick, I think he started fifth or sixth, something like that, in the race, and just keep it consistent, and
Mm.
manage to win, and just by taking opportunity of other driver mistake and stuff like that. So and but this is Nick. Nick is very consistent. This is Mr. Consistency. So
Mm.
yeah, it was a fantastic start of season.
I mean, obviously with Division Three, there's a lot of teams using the Porsche 911. You know, we've got the occasional BMW M4. What was the decision for you guys at Precision Racing Esports to go with the Mercedes AMG?
It's basically a Dom decision. Dom is really good with the Mercedes. He's
Mm.
really good setting up the car. So that's something special for this car. And I think also the BOP RVRA is doing is just perfect. I think
Mm.
our racing should take example of what RVRA is doing. They nailed it perfectly. So that it was a no-brainer that we're gonna take since the beginning of the season, that we're gonna take the Mercedes. So it was a sure bet.
I think also one of the nice things is that because the thing is myself and Jérôme, we've been talking on Discord, getting this interview sorted. But there was a nice little bit of news, wasn't there, to the team quite recently in the Discord chats because Nick got the victory, and also because he actually finished on the podium, he got two tickets to a race of his choice for the 24-hour Creventic 24-hour series in 2023. What was his first reaction when it was sort of like, yeah, you've got these tickets? I bet his jaw hit the ground like Jim Carrey out of the mask back in the early 2000s.
It's hard to tell. I think he couldn't believe it. And when I saw that message, I just took a screenshot and sent him a private message directly, and I just told him, you are now with the big boys." So you get a shot to race really with the big boys. So yeah, he's really excited to that, and I know he's really excited for the challenge, and he accepted the challenge. It's going to be a big challenge, and I know Nick. When there's a challenge like that, he's gonna put the practice in, and I'm sure he's gonna make a good appearance in the 24-hour series.
I think also the good thing, the calendar for the 2022-2023 season, there's been a lot of positive feedback with the track choices. Obviously, we've had the Nürburgring, which is infamous, especially with its weather conditions in real life and also on the virtual world. We got Autodromo Enzio e Dino Ferrari Imola coming up on the 27th of November. You've then got Daytona, you know, a fantastic track in its own right. Doesn't matter whether it's the tri-oval or whether it's going to be the road course that we're going to have on the 18th of December. Belle Isle, where the old Formula One Detroit Grand Prix got held back, 8th of January next year. Then Suzuka. 19th of February. Then a little bit of a break, even though that us all in the sim racing world, well, we do have calendars, but those calendars, you go like, yeah, you got a bit of a break. No, I got 3 races next week, or I got 4 races the week after
Yeah.
that. It's quite a busy schedule, but then we have Monza. I mean, what are your thoughts really on the calendar that IVRA has put together for the GT Sprint Series? Because I think it's great. You've got a nice mixture of tracks, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's a nice mixture of track. The calendar is fantastic because you can find track that were used to run long race, such as Daytona, and there's classic track, if I can say it. So with the Imola, Monza, so there's really good classic track, and you have some surprise with Belial.
Hmm.
So Belial, and I can't wait for Belial because if it's really hard to win in with the strength of field that we have in our VRA, that it's very very hard to win. But I think that if there is a place that we can
Mm.
win, or even DNF, it can goes on either way. It's Belial. So that's I think it's the track that will provide the most surprise to everyone in terms of result.
And it could also really give us an insight on who are going to be the championship protagonists in the respective divisions. You know, Nick already getting the W for you guys in Division 3, and obviously the car in Division 1 is in P5 at the moment. Um, but the Mercedes has quite a lot of strengths. You know, it's known for its good linear power on the straights. I mean, that's going to be quite handy on, say, for example, Daytona. You know, Imola's going to be a bit more of a tighter technical affair, just like the Nürburgring was back on the last weekend of October. Are there any of these particular tracks that sort of really, you got Road America, you got well, and then of course we got the favorite track for precision racing esports at the end of the season, haven't we? 7th of May, Bathurst. And
Yeah.
it's one that you guys are going to be like, and you got Road America. So we've got this sort of like this hodgepodge of different circuits, and Suzuka, is the only one that's an FIA Grade 1 listed track that has a figure of eight, uh, layout. I bet the guys are chomping at the bit to get through this calendar as quickly as possible and see how they stand at the end of the season. Wouldn't you agree, Jerome?
Yes, obviously, but we really focus one track at a time.
Yeah.
That's really where we need to focus, and I really like the way IVRA built the schedule over months, so give teams to get practice. And I know that the boys are already practicing for Emoda, so it's yeah, we take it one track at a time. We know that there may be some track it could be more difficult. Obviously, batters we can't wait for it. We used to love also, and I know Dom as a setup guy, and I know that any circuit with long straight, there's gonna be a lot of top speed in the car. So
Yeah.
that's I know him pretty well on the setup side. So I can't wait for those race with the long straight.
One of the other things, I mean, just before we actually started this conversation, because those that know me in the karting world, we had a quick chat and we talked about marshalling. Now, marshalling's an important part of real life motorsport, and you said that if you were given the opportunity to do either a Formula One race or a going to a karting weekend, you agreed with me on the fact that karting is a lot more
Uh,
exciting. I mean, just tell us about some of your experiences of being a flag marshal, because obviously people that do it love the sport. You give up your free time, you're there with good friends, and there's lots of camaraderie, irrespective of what weather you're braving, whether the wind's howling, the rain's pelting down on the top of your hood, or whatever. If you're at a particular part of the circuit, how because I know people over here over in the UK that are marshalling friends, and they always sort of like turn their nose up at me because like, oh, look at you going in the paddock and schmoozing with all the racing stars and all that kind of stuff. And I said it's just a job of work. I mean, just tell us about some of your experiences as a flag marshal, Jérôme.
it's it's a fantastic hobby, and I suggest anyone passionate into racing to try it because it brings you a different perspective of racing. And we speak about karting. First thing that was taught to me when I was doing marshalling is karting is the school of Formula One. Is the school of marshalling. If you can handle the flag on the karting track when there's a lot of kart going
Mm,
around you, you will be good on any other circuit like Formula One circuit. And so yeah, it brings really a different dimension. It's all about adrenaline, and when a car crash, you just jump on the track and go to see if the driver is safe. And so it's very very exciting. And yeah, and I remember also my first Grand Prix in Montreal, and
hmm.
I was at the end of the straight, like at the pit entry, and the car coming so fast, and it was Vettel in the Ferrari. And when I saw him coming, I just told myself, okay, I'm gonna just put aside because there's no way he's gonna make the chicane. He did make the chicane. It's at this moment that I've learned that these drivers are crazy, yes, but
Yeah.
they are one of the best athlete in the world. This is crazy. The day you see a Formula One that close to you and what the guy are doing with those machines, this is so yeah. It's Marshall has brought a lot to me to have a lot of knowledge of racing, and so it's really something. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to be a flag marshal recently because I have young kids, and also with the PRL and PRL sport taking more of my time.
Hmm.
I need to make some choice, but it's sure that in the future I want to go again around circuit to do flag marshal. This is just too exciting.
So you were just off of the iconic place known as the Wall of Champions, coming down the back straightaway when they're doing over 320 kilometers an hour. I mean,
Yep.
the funny thing is, I've gone to a few Grand Prix myself, predominantly Silverstone. I haven't really been to any other tracks. I mean, one of my friends said you better get your backside over to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal as soon as you can. Hopefully, at one point when I get the opportunity, I will do so. Have you ever have you actually raced in real life, like whether it's been karting or also like grassroots motorsport at all?
Not really, just a little bit of lapping with the friend's car, and also just some karting, but location karting. So nothing really at the competitive level. It's also one of my project that maybe in the future just buy my own car and just tune it to do some lapping session. But no, I don't have a lot of real experience.
I mean, what's been your biggest sort of achievements for yourself personally within sim racing, like a race that you've sort of like had to fight your way through the field, or you've put it on pole, you've had to defend it for quite a bit of time, like a sprint race or an endurance race. Are there any sort of achievements in sim racing for you that have stood out since you started dipping your toe in the water with iRacing a few years back?
A few sim racing. Yeah, my first year when I joined PRL, it was in 2013. We were
Yep.
playing F1 game, and that feeling of your first victory, and the guy were so competitive, and it was so hard in the division I was in it, and that feeling of the first victory is really something I will always remember. One of the other achievements that I would always remember is I won the 12 hour of Sebring. Obviously not on the top split, but just the fact that we managed to win an endurance race, it was amazing, especially that at the beginning of the race we had some connection issues, so we had to pit early, and yeah, it was a rough race, but kept going, and we
Hmm.
managed to win the race, so it was a fantastic accomplishment as well. So yeah, and that was when I was able to put a little more time on my simmering, but now I'm more on the management side. I try to get some time on track, but yeah, it's a little bit more difficult recently.
Yeah, I mean, alongside Marco Oliveira, you know, you guys are co-owners of PRL and also the esports side of it. I mean, from a management perspective, how much are you spending? Obviously, apart from that, you know, you got your wife, your kids as well. How much time are you spending a week? You know, because I would imagine you probably have a full-time job as well alongside it. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, exactly. I would say minimum of 20 hours per week, minimum.
Hmm.
So and some weeks could be more. So as an example, just this we are about to open signups for a new series as an example. So I know that within the next few days I'm gonna spend way more time than usually. But when the season kicks in, it start to be more relaxed. So I can sometimes enjoy a little more of racing. But yeah, I would say the minimum of 20 hours a week.
And obviously, apart from that, you got Charles, you got Arnaud, you got Nick, you got Tyler that are part of the team. How crucial is it to have the right people that you can communicate with honestly up front? There's no BS between anybody, and you've got that confidence that you know that you've got people you can depend on when because we all go through troubles. We have good days, we have bad days, and it's
Yeah.
like if Nick says, Jerome, is everything all right? And you go, actually, I'm having a bit of a problem with one particular team. He could say, well, look, I'll get in touch with them. Leave it to me. You tell me what you want me to tell them. How comfortable are you with the crew that you've got?
I have an amazing crew, and it's confidence and trust is really the key. And we have our own private chat, all the manager and director, and we say everything there. We were having fun as well. It's all about fun, also. That's what I'm telling the guys. You always need to. Uh, One thing I'm telling them as well that it's very important is I want the crew to at least participate in one of our series so they can keep that motivation, that flame, that passion of sim racing and organizing all of that. Because the day you stop racing, I've seen that with previous organizer or manager. Oh, I'm gonna stop racing and focus on the management, and the passion is going down and down. So that's very important to keep racing and keep being engaged with the community. That's critical. But yeah, the team is amazing. We
Mm.
trust each other. We help each other. So we're doing, as an example, pre-race meeting before every week. If someone cannot be there, then someone else jump. As an example, recently it's been difficult with fall. Everyone is sick and with the family, so we help each other. So we have some specific duties where we have our expertise, and if someone cannot do it for X, Y, Z reason, we
Hmm.
jump. We're gonna jump. So it's all about communication as well. That's very important. We communicate, and yeah, it's the team is amazing, and without them, nothing of all we have achieved and we're achieving right now would be possible.
I mean, apart from the PRL, where a lot of your drivers will compete anyway, and of course, IVRA with the GT Sprint Series, are there any sort of like events that you got in the pipeline that you're going to be competing in? Like say any iRacing special events or any other iRacing leagues? Is there a plan of action? Because I mean, I know we're only a couple of months away from Christmas and the New Year in terms of the festive holiday, because everyone's going to want to like just the week before Christmas try and shut down, chill out, enjoy some good times with friends and family over the festive period. I mean, is there a lot happening towards the end of 2022 for you guys at Precision?
Now, I would say our focus is really with IVRA, and next weekend we have the 10 hour of Suzuka. This is our focus.
Hmm.
I know we also have some driver competing in the M Tech of the major series. So we have two teams competing there as well. I think there's one or two race for in that series before the end of the year. That's pretty much it. I would say that the main focus in the future will be our racing special event, obviously. We like also the major 24-hour Le Mans. This is a really great event. We did it last season, so we're gonna be doing it as well next year, and also our VRA. So that's pretty much our focus. And you know what? It's enough. Because the level of competition is so hard that you need to dedicate yourself to practice, and yeah, we cannot support more than that. Let's focus on what on RVRA special event, MTech of major, and that's going to be enough.
I think also the fact that with a lot of esports teams now, drivers are in different time zones. I mean, you guys are on Eastern Standard Time. You'll then have drivers that will probably be in Europe, so you're having to deal with Greenwich Mean Time, Central European Time. Okay, with the US, it's slightly different because you've got Eastern, you've got Pacific times. How difficult could it be sometimes to get everyone together? It's like, guys, like we need to have a meeting. What time's good for you? It's sort of like a bit like us trying to organize this podcast here, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's a big challenge, and actually, I'm working on the schedule. We will have 40 for the 10 hour of Suzuka, since it's only 10 hour. It's team of two, three, so it's a challenge because yeah, like you said, we have two, three drivers from European time zone, GMT time zone. We have one driver in Australia, Marlon McMullen.
Yeah.
Very good driver, is really nice, and it's with him that we won the top split of batters of 1,000. Our
Mm.
batters expert, and yeah, so we have Pacific time, Eastern time, so yes, it's definitely a challenge, but we know each other. I start to know We start to know each other, and we know also some driver couldn't race late, early, something like that. So as we know each other, as we race together, we
Mhm.
get to learn that, and I always take some note from previous events so I can have a glance of what could be a good schedule.
I think also with that, you have constructive feedback from the rest of the crew, like say the drivers saying, I didn't feel quite comfortable with the car. Dom, is there something that we can do to really sort of maximize it? With any good team, as we were talking about with regards to the foundation where you've got the management structure in place, the drivers are just as important. And when you get feedback from them, it's always a case of we're here to have fun, but no one takes anything personally. Like they'll say, yeah, the balance on the back end of the car didn't feel all right, or what can we do to maximize our handling of the Mercedes in the next round?
Yeah.
It's always going to be those kind of conversations. I mean, there must be a really good openness between you guys on the management side and the drivers.
It's It depends because if we take a guy like Dom and we have other pro in our team, Ilya and Marlon, they are really at the higher level, and they can speak and they can translate the setup on the track and stuff like that. But if you take a guy like me with only a 2 KR rating, sometimes it's difficult. Yes, I'm gonna give a preference to Dom as an example, but the issue per se is not really the setup. It's maybe my driving style or my lack of experience with the
Mm.
combination of the car and the track. And Dom is being a pretty good help for us. He's helping us, he's coaching us, and he's really amazing. And most of the time, we realize that no, it's not the setup, the issue, or it's really more the experience with the track combination that we're using.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming towards the end of our time sort of having this chat. But is there anybody, any partners, any backers, any sponsors that you'd like to give a shout out here on the Insights with IVRA podcast?
Yeah, sure. I would like to thanks all precision racing esports sponsors. So Advanced Sim Racing, Racebox Sim Racing, Race Lab, the Bot Kicker, and also Ninja Trader. So big thanks to our partners, VCO, RaceBot, and thanks to our VRA. Thanks to you as well for your time. That's amazing.
Well, Jérôme, thank you very, very much. All the very best of luck to you guys at Precision Racing Esports for the next round of the IVRA GT Sprint Series powered by Hoistingfeld. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for episode 6. We'll have another guest coming up very soon on episode 7. So thank you for watching. Tune into all the relevant social media side of things here on IVRA. Head to ivraracingleague.com for all the latest information about the schedules, the results, and also don't forget to keep tuned in to racebot.tv and also VCO on Twitch for future programs with regards to the upcoming rounds for the GSI Endurance Series and also the HyperX Club Sports Series. Until then, thanks for watching.